What's up, people? So, I just got back from watching the Super Mario Brothers movie. So, going in, I was really curious and skeptical because, well, Illumination's doing it. I'm like, okay. And, of course, the last time we had a Mario movie, it was there and people trashed it. So, I was really curious to see what this is gonna be. I will admit the trailers did give me like, oh, okay, this might actually be cool. And then of course there's the casting of Chris Pratt as Mario, which everybody flipped out about. So yeah, going in, I was hopeful but also skeptical. Oh, cause I like Mario. I'm not a diehard fan, but I don't know plenty about him. And Mario Kart was my thing, which I'll mention why I said that later. So my overall thoughts on this movie, well, I guess I'll just explain in some general thoughts on it. Just as I will say, I did really enjoy this movie. It there was a ton of fan service in here. You had like oh, and by the way, spoilers too. Just I always forget to say that at the beginning, but yeah, spoilers in case you haven't seen this movie. But yeah, fan service. Like you had those. There's literally that whole scene where they play "Holding Out for a Hero," which second time I've heard it this year. That had a whole bunch of references to like playing through Super Mario Brothers with the mushroom making you big and those red plants. I don't know if I know the name of some of these, and the whole Mario Kart sequence just again, and I think the most Mario played is Mario Kart, and when I saw that, I think I was smiling the entire time because the references were really fun. Like you had like there's a moment when Mario is drifting and then that drift of course helps him speed up. I was like, oh, I know that. And he also had when he would go upside down, the wheels would turn like in Mario Kart 8. And speaking of Mario Kart 8, they even made a reference to the way you would pick how your car would be with the type of vehicle and type of wheels. They like showed that. So there was a lot of fun references in there. And I also liked that whole pipe sequence where Toad and Mario go into Peach's castle and they end up going through a bunch of pipes and all that. And they go through the wrong one. I was like, yep, that's fun. And like honestly, I feel like if I watched this again, there would be a lot more references I'd be able to point out. So yeah, this is a very fan servicey movie, which as a pretty average Mario fan, and I definitely it got a lot of them, and I had a lot of fun with it, and yeah. So what else? Well, I guess everybody, of course, bashed Chris Pratt for being cast as Mario. Is he actually bad in this? I will admit his voice kind of grew on me. I mean, there were a couple points where, yeah, I just heard Chris Pratt, but I still don't like the casting. It still seems odd for him, but I didn't mind it that much. I will say though, in his first scene, they play a commercial of Mario and Luigi being plumbers, and they actually have their Italian accents in that one scene. I actually kind of thought that was a nice little Easter egg, I guess you could say, because I do understand it. Because I heard somebody say, I don't know if I could like listen to these Italian accents and for a whole movie. I'm like, yeah, I could buy that argument, and that was a nice little thing in there. Um, I like Charlie Day as Luigi and Jack Black as Bowser. Yep, he's having a ton of fun, as Jack Black always does. And then yeah, Peach, who in this one is now a damsel. Well, no, she used to be a damsel in distress, but in this one now she's more of a action hero that a lot of female characters are nowadays. Is it has that modern Disney vibe where they don't want them to be girls that get captured and need saving. They want them to be independent. I don't even think Mario and Peach actually fall in love in this one. They make references to their romance with Bowser just assuming they're in love the whole time, but they're not actually in love as far as I know. So I'm not sure how to feel about that because on the one hand I'm like, oh come on, it's Mario and Peach, they gotta fall in love. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, well, this is a modernization, and and it's a movie from 2023, so I'm kind of like, I kind of expect that. Oh, and Donkey Kong is in this. He's all right. Um, as Seth Rogen voices him, I know people like are really tired of his voice, so and I will admit his voice didn't like stand out to me that much in this one. I feel like he toned it down, but I'm not sure how I feel about Donkey Kong in this one. He was just kind of like, oh, he just kind of feels like a side character in this one, just doing his own thing. And I will admit, when he was screaming, "It's on like Donkey Kong," I was like, I rolled my eyes at that, but I also thought, well, you kind of had to include that. Let's be honest. People would, like, the internet would yell if you didn't include that. So I can't really think of much else to talk about. Just kind of, well, the story, I guess, is all right. It's a very simple story about Mario and Luigi getting sucked into this dimension with the Mushroom Kingdom. Bowser's coming in to take over the world, want to marry Peach, and so Peach tries to unite with Donkey Kong and all the Kongs there to try and unite to stop them and all that. It's kind of like, it's a fine story, I guess. And so something else I was thinking about, I try to compare these movies to the Sonic movies, like because those are also video game movies, obviously, and those are some of the better ones. How does this compare to those? I would say I prefer the Sonic movies because I feel like what made those movies really good was they weren't just fan service, like just kind of Easter eggs all over. It felt like the writers behind it actually cared. They wanted to tell an interesting story with Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and all that. They wanted to make these characters more interesting, and I think it worked well for those movies. But compared to this one, it kind of just felt like, yeah, just we're just throwing a bunch of Easter eggs at you, and you're gonna like it. And I mean, I did like it, but it does make me think: is there a point to this movie? Just kind of, it's hard to, it's hard. I think just trying to figure out how to describe my negativity towards it, if that makes sense. Just it's a it's a really fun movie, but I also don't know if I'm ever gonna think about it. It am I gonna say it's good or bad? I'd say, I mean, it's close to good just because I had a lot of fun with it, but uh, and I guess I could recommend it for people who are curious about it. And if you're a Mario fan, you're gonna love it, I'm sure. But I don't feel like this is like a necessary adaptation of Mario. Like, doesn't really add that much new, if you know what I mean. And like, I feel like that's what the Sonic movies did really well, but this did not. I mean, I guess the newest thing was seeing Peach be her own character and not trying to be again a girl who needs saving, which I guess I'm like, okay, sure. So um, I'm thinking about it. If I were to rate this 1 to 10, I think I would give this a 6 out of 10. And again, and I had a lot of fun with it. I would probably watch it again, but there's also no point to this movie the more I think about it. So yep, that's the Super Mario Brothers movie. Hey, and we'll move on to something else. Peace. Oh, King Kong is in this. No.